Hello there, it's Pete Thompson again, Head of Product Management at HTK, and today we're doing another deep dive video. We're going to focus on persona and lifecycle stages today and how Horizon can help you manage those within your business with your customer data. If you haven't watched any of the other deep dive series, I encourage you to check out the existing videos and the overall product tour. I think you'll find them very useful, and they're available on the HTK website. So I'm here within the contacts screen again, which should be familiar to you now after watching the contact management video. And personas, you can see there within segmentation and within settings, which I'll come on to, is where lifecycle stage administration lives. But first I'm going to start with showing you a contact record, and you can see how personas and lifecycle stages relate to individual customers. So I'm going to open my record, my Pete Thompson record. And if you've been following this series, you'll see my Facebook picture has changed. I don't look as miserable there. So, persona and lifecycle stages sit right at the top of the contact record and are automatically calculated by Horizon based on the rules that you set. Or, as you can see here, there's an assign automatically. You can assign them manually if you know there's particular customers who you want to override any settings. You know what persona and lifecycle stage they're in. So we can see my customer record. I am the middle-aged Mike persona, and I am currently have a lifecycle stage of active. If I want to add new lifecycle stages, there's a call to action there that I can go off and do that. And if I so wish to override my persona and lifecycle stage, I can unclick those two checkboxes, go in there, and you can see all the available personas and likewise all the available lifecycle stages. Now, as I said, Horizon does this automatically if you have it set to assign automatically, and it does this based on the rules that you define, i.e. you tell Horizon the characteristics, i.e. the rules, for each persona and lifecycle stage. Then at regular periods, Horizon analyses your customer database and assigns them the appropriate persona and lifecycle stage. So it's always up to date, always relevant, and always real time. So I'm going to start with personas, and then I'll come on to some of the segmentation that's available as well. So as a reminder, Crease Jeans is a retail-focused demo division, so the personas that we have available are all relevant to a retail context. So you'll see there's the fashionista fae, get the trendiest items, experiment with new looks and stand out, down to middle-aged Mike, find stylish, age-appropriate looks that works for the weekend. And we've got an unknown one here. So if we capture anyone that doesn't meet any of the rules for the above personas, we can put them into an unknown, and it could mean that we've got a new persona that we didn't think we had within our customer base. So at this stage, the definition of personas is essentially metadata. It's a description of what they are. Personas are a very good way of humanizing your customers, rather than it being purely based on transactional information that you might get. You think about more their behaviors, their goals, their pains, so you can humanize them and therefore come up with more relevant promotions and strategies within your marketing and loyalty programs. So here's an example of one. So we've got the fashionista fae, the name, description, behavior, the goals and her pains. If I edit that, you can see how you can create one. So you can upload an image, you can add a description, add a behavior and the goals and their pains. So as I said, that's just descriptive data, and if you're wondering how as a business you might want to define your personas, we've got a great bit of exclusive content alongside this week's deep dive video all around personas, so I do encourage you to check that out too. So once you've defined your different personas, you then come on to persona assignment rules, and this is where you basically tell Horizon what constitutes a customer sitting in a particular persona. It works exactly the same with life cycle stages, so once you've done this with personas, it'll be very familiar, and there's other elements of the system where it does a similar thing. So this is the persona assignment screen, and as you can see, it's rule-based. You'll see it says rule 1, rule 2, rule 3, all the way down to, at the bottom, the default persona. So how this screen works, think of it as a funnel, really. And Horizon, when it starts to calculate the personas, it's going to look at your individual customers, and it will come in, and the first thing it will check is rule 1. Is this customer a teeny bopper Tina persona? And to know that, Horizon's looking for contacts who are type of contact customer whose interests are fashion. If the customer doesn't meet that persona, Horizon will drop down to check rule 2. Does it meet this rule? Are they a power mum Melissa? If not, are they rule 3, etc. Right down until it either finds a matching persona or can't find a matching one and puts them in the default. So let's open one that's got quite a few rules. So Comfy Chris. So if you watched the segmentation deep dive video, you'll probably now understand the concepts of rule group building in Horizon. Defining your persona rules works exactly the same way. So as you can see here, this is looking at the Comfy Chris one. I've got my persona selected, Comfy Chris. I could either select straight away the rule for this persona is someone who's already in an existing group. Now that obviously saves time. If you already have the group built, you don't want to define the rules again. You just want to say they're a member of this group. However, if you don't have that group defined, or you want to actually define some slightly different group rules, you can come down to here where it says meet these conditions, and as per creating segmentation rules, you do it exactly the same way. So here we've got a Comfy Chris that's looking for people who've made more than 2 purchases. They've purchased products that are within the leisure wear category, and they're male. Now if I wanted to change these rules or add more, I can go in and change them. So you'll see this is exactly as it is in segmentation. Every single attribute available for segmentation is available here in personas, and you could create those rules. Cancel that and close that. So it's very flexible, very easy, and we work with our customers during data onboarding to come up with personas, and the beauty about this is you can change these. So if you decide that maybe these personas aren't right, or the trends start to tell you something differently, you can adjust these. These aren't something you have to set once and leave alone. So if we come on to Lifecycle stages, which is here, we're now over in settings, we can see what the stages are. In a similar way to how you have the persona descriptions, you also have your lifecycle stage descriptions. So these are probably more familiar to transactional based lifecycle stages, i.e. the recency and frequency of purchases. So you can see we've got, again, a default lifecycle stage. If there's not enough information on the customer, Horizon can't figure out what lifecycle stage they should be in, it will put them into this one. We also have a lapsed member one, so customers who have been a member for more than 3 months and have not logged into the loyalty portal in the last 12 months. And about to lapse members, who are customers who have been a member for more than 3 months and have not logged into the loyalty portal in the last 6 months. And then your active members, customers who have been a member for more than 3 months and have logged in the loyalty portal in the last month. So as you can see, lifecycle stages in this instance are based on the recency and frequency of engagement with the loyalty program. Again, like persona assignment, we have lifecycle stage assignment rules, and they work in exactly the same way as personas. So Horizon is going to calculate those. It's going to come in with a customer. Do they meet rule 1? Yes, no. Do they meet rule 2? Yes, no. Do they meet rule 3, rule 4, etc. Right down until you get to a default lifecycle stage if they can't find any information about them to map them to the right lifecycle stage. Again, it works in the same way as persona assignments, so they're all rule-based. You can select a group, or you can specify some rules here. So once you've done all that, and you've got them set up, Horizon will calculate them on a regular basis, and you can start to search and segment using that information. So I go to advanced search, and under the relationship group, you'll see, along with some relationship scores fields, you've got persona and lifecycle stage. So I could select persona here and say, okay, I want to know all my middle-aged mics. And it tells me there. I've got 11 have returned. So that's quite useful. Also, I could look at I could look at my life cycle stages who are active. Because of the train division, there's not going to be many. I bet it'll just be me. Oh no, more people have been using it than I thought. So they're my active. So I could say, okay, well, I want my active life cycle stage, but I also want to look at my middle-aged mics. So there we go. 2 of my active customers have a persona of middle-aged mic, and of course there's some extra information available. You can do is not, is blank. So is not my middle-aged mics. There we go. So 5 of my active life cycle stage customers are not middle-aged mic personas. So you've got some segmentation. I could create groups off those. You could use them for targeting. You could create offers. Offer management is one of our videos next week, where you could target offers, content to people in specific personas and life cycle stages. We also have a report available, and there's a whole other video where we're going to do a deep dive on reporting. But you've got a report that you can look at the different trends. You can look at your personas versus life cycle stages, see how they map across. So you can actually then see if your personas are working. You know, your life cycle stage is right. Are people going from active to lapsed more frequently than you'd expect? And like I say, we're going to cover all reporting and do a thorough deep dive on the reporting aspects of Rise in another video. But right now, that's given you a bit of an introduction to the persona and lifecycle capability. I hope you found it useful, and I do hope you tune in for more of the deep dive series. Thank you.